This is the Washington Times front page for Wednesday, September 14th, 2022. Thanks for joining us. I'm George Gerbo. President Biden is scrambling to avert a massive railroad strike as soon as Friday that would worsen supply chain shortages and inflame high inflation. The White House wouldn't commit Tuesday to legislation to prevent a strike, Dave Boyer reports, despite acknowledging that a rail shutdown would cause tremendous harm to the economy. Union leaders have warned the White House and Congress not to intervene. They said a strike or the threat of a strike is the only way to get better working conditions. Still, House Majority Leader Steny Hoyer said Congress might step in and block a strike if necessary. Ukraine's stunning successes on the battlefield in recent days has sparked renewed optimism that a lasting, decisive victory over Russia may be within reach. After months of defense against relentless Russian ground attacks and artillery barrages, Ben Wolfgang reports Ukraine's counteroffensive campaign has quickly retaken ground. That includes the strategically vital northeastern city of Kharkiv, with more modest gains in the south near Kherson. U.S. military officials confirmed that Russian troops in some instances have been pushed back across their border and were seemingly unprepared for the well-coordinated Ukrainian counterattack. Analysts say striking the right balance between pressing its advantage and exercising strategic restraint will be the key challenge to Ukrainian military leaders. Republican National Committee officials are advising party candidates to stay focused on economic and crime issues that top voters' concerns. Seth McLaughlin and Tom Howe report the RNC strategy was delivered in a memo Tuesday. It also directed Republican candidates in swing district races to remind voters of Democrats' positions on abortion. The RNC is trying to reboot their message after a series of updated political forecasts suggest Democrats are in a far better position than they once were to retain control of Congress. You can read all these stories at WashingtonTimes.com/front page. You can also find the entire lineup of Washington Times news, sports, and commentary podcasts at WashingtonTimes.com/podcasts. Half of U.S. workers responding to a recent Gallup survey now consider themselves quiet quitters, employees who do the minimum necessary to keep their jobs. Sean Salai reports some analysts call the concept of quiet quitting the 80-20 rule, where 20% of employees do 80% of the work. According to economists, it's an old trend in the labor market, but one that was poised for a surge as more Americans sought better work-life balance even before the pandemic. Experts attribute the spike to large numbers of managers quitting during the pandemic, a struggling job market, and the unhappiness of young people with remote work. Foreign criminal groups are estimated to have stolen billions of dollars in pandemic relief money, and Stephen Dinan reports an Inspector General's report is shedding light on how some of that happened. The Small Business Administration Inspector General says the agency tried to block foreign applications to its economic injury disaster loans, one of two major programs activated to prop up businesses during the early COVID-19 pandemic shutdowns. Still, thousands of applications filed from foreign internet protocol addresses got through the SBA's firewall. As a result, the agency doled out about $1.3 billion in payments that the Inspector General deemed at severe risk of being fraudulent. And finally, the infrastructure law Congress enacted last year includes $37 billion for small, disadvantaged businesses, a way of getting more money into the hands of companies owned by women and minorities. Christian Bruckner, a Romanian immigrant, calls it unconstitutional discrimination, and he has gone to court to try to block the program. It's just one of the challenges to President Biden's equity agenda, Alex Sawyer reports, which is testing the boundaries of affirmative action. Benefits for minorities via government contracts have been on the books for decades, but critics say the Biden administration and Congress are increasing disparities. Find all today's front page stories at WashingtonTimes.com/front page or the Washington Times app, and find us wherever you get your podcasts. Just search Washington Times in your favorite podcast app. You can also find us on Twitter and Instagram at Wash Times for breaking news, sports, commentary, and more. For the Washington Times, I'm George Gerbo.